Hakop Vartovyan is considered the founder of the Turkish theater. Drama experts have criticized and even treated him with enmity. The source of this hatred is not only due to the fact that Hakop Vartovyan served the Turkish theater, but he adopted the Islamic religion, changed his nationality by changing his name to Guli Yakup, abandoned his Armenian family, and kept the harem. However, he cannot be denied his righteous place in the Western Armenian theater. He created a theater, and in 15 years he gave 1,000 Armenian and Turkish performances and staged 200 pieces, which include works from Strapyon Hekimyan, Mkırtich Beşiktaşlyan, Petros Turyan, Kalfayan, and Terzian. He has commissioned the translation of many internationally well-known drama pieces into Armenian. Merinevart has a specific place in Western Armenian theater. There are many publications about her life. She did not have many performances because she ended her life at the age of 32 by suicide right on the stage when she was performing. The Lady with Camellias. The cause of her death was her feelings for the Turkish playwright Shamsuddin Sami. Marriage between the two was impossible because Mary could not deny her faith and her nationality. The people of Istanbul worshipped her on stage, but criticized and persecuted her in real life. Merinevart is one of the great figures of drama. She brought many roles to life with her great artistic abilities and is considered the Margaret Gyokay of the Armenian theater. She was one of the most beautiful actresses of the Armenian stage. She was the pearl of Armenian stage. Martiros Manakyan has served the Armenian theater for a quarter of a century as an actor and active supporter of the theater. He started to play when he was in his 40s in the small neighborhood theaters. During the opening of the Eastern Theater, he played the role of Marshal in The Two Commanders. His best year as an actor was during the Caucasian Year when he gave performances in Tbilisi with his colleagues Adamyan, Siranush, Merinevart, Azniv Hrachia, and the Karakashian sisters. He's played the role of Famusov, Whitworth's Woe, Mayor, Reviser, Vishnevsky, The Productive Post, Gazarine, Masquerade, Karl Moore, Outlaws, Don Juan, and Shylock, Merchant of Venice. Manakyan has also performed in the operetta group of Bengalyan. He has been commended for his superb acting in Tigran Tokhajian's Lehlebuji Hor Hor Agha as the best of his time in the operetta of Karine by Tigran Tokhajian. For 30 years, Manakyan has kept the Armenian theater alive despite the sufferings inflicted upon him by the Hamidian regime. He's been persecuted, he's been subjected to police surveillance, and has suffered indescribable castigations until he passed on his torch to a 20-year-old worthy successor, Bahram Papazian. He's been called the martyr who was martyred on the battlefield of the Armenian theater. The Western Armenian theater has produced many talents, but Petros Adamyan stands out as a phenomenal actor with an unsurpassable talent who has not been replaced by anyone until today. He is a huge star of the Armenian stage. He is the irreplaceable Armenian Hamlet, who entered the world of theater with a great energy and enthusiasm, performed in several countries, and became a big international star. There's a large volume of publication about his life. He's been compared to huge international stars, and some of them have even confessed that the Armenian tragedian has surpassed them in talent. Adamyan was born in Istanbul. He was educated in a local high school. His hobbies included painting, reading, and going to the theater. All the actors and actresses knew him as the boy who was beautiful as a rose, shy as a maiden, modest and courteous, and the young man who would not miss any of the performances. Hekimyan notices Adamyan's love for drama and gives him some beginning roles in The Wandering Jew and Sister Teresa performances. Adamyan studied French, Italian, and the classical literature and got acquainted with the world of drama. The Drama Committee of Tbilisi, by the leadership of Chemishyan, invited a group of actors from Istanbul to Tbilisi. Among them was Adamyan. This was the beginning of the second stage of Adamyan's life in the theater. In 1881, Shakespeare's Hamlet was performed for the first time on the Armenian stage. Adamyan was very well prepared for this role, since he had thoroughly researched this work. Later on, he wrote his first publication, Shakespeare, the Source and Criticism of his Tragedy Hamlet, which was the first work about Shakespeare in the Armenian literature. Adamyan was invited to Moscow in 1883 by the Armenian students of Moscow. His friends advised him to decline this invitation because he did not know Russian and the Russian public did not know him. Adamyan would have been taking a great risk by performing in front of an audience as demanding as the Russian, especially considering the fact that internationally well-known stars such as Tommaso Salvini and Ernesto Rossi had just been to Russia. Adamyan's friends were convinced that he was bound to fail. On February 5th, on a very cold winter day, Adamyan had his first performance in Russia in Giacometti's The Criminal's Family. During the first act, the audience who were sitting in their fur coats started leaving the hall. However, as soon as Adamyan, in the role of Corrado, came in, everything changed. Everybody froze in their seats, and the people who started leaving the hall slowly went back to their seats. Adamyan had a hypnotic effect on the audience. Before the curtains fell, the hall was already roaring with the applause of the public. The Russian public was so impressed and amazed by the acting of the Armenian artist that they were inquiring about this unknown yet great artist from the Russian Armenian students. This was despite the fact that the audience did not understand any word that Adamyan uttered, since all the actors were performing in Russian and Adamyan was performing in Armenian. Encouraged by his success, Adamyan performed Hamlet in the following week. In the first few moments of the performance, the Russian public came to the conclusion that they were not dealing with an amateur actor, but a brilliant artist with immense capabilities. The performance ended with the cheers and thunderous applause of the public and, despite the chilliness of the hall, the audience was reluctant to leave. On the next day, the newspapers of Moscow were relating the story of this great Armenian actor. The Moscow Vedomost wrote, "Neither Rossi nor the famous Salvini are equals of Adamyan in the role of Hamlet." Another paper announced that in the Pushkin Theater, an Armenian actor is performing miracles. The very well-known Russian academician Alexei Veslovsky talked about his appreciation of Adamyan's work. European painter George Beger, who was astonished by Adamyan's acting, wrote to him saying, You played Hamlet with a poetic beauty, with a beauty that seems to flow in your veins. The whole of Moscow was talking about Adamian. However, Adamian was getting ready to take another risky step. He decided to play the role of Albeni in Masquerade of Lermontov. His friends tried to convince him otherwise. Everybody was saying that he is sentencing himself to failure that would erase his previous successes. During those days, a very well-known Russian actor, Bizarev, was playing the role of Arbenin in Moscow, and he was considered the best performer of that role. How could a non-Russian compete with a Russian actor for a role from a piece which is considered a masterpiece of Russian classical drama? As usual, Adamian did not pay attention to anybody and went ahead with his plans. In the last scene of the piece, when Adamian, in the role of Arbenin, mad-stricken, tears up his shirt and attacks the stranger, a lady in the audience, terrified from this scene, screams and runs out of the hall. With thunderous bravos and long applause, the audience calls back Adamian to the stage for 11 times. The Russian international star Maria Yermolova approached Adamian and shook his hand, saying, "From now on, we will advise Mr. Bizarev not to play the role of Arbenin." In only 2 months, Adamian's fame spread all around the city, reached St. Petersburg and other Russian cities. People were reading about Adamian in Russian papers with great amazement. Adamian became an idol of the public and the object of worship of actors and actresses. St. Petersburg was impatiently waiting for Adamian. In January 28, 1884, Adamian performed Hamlet in front of the highly cultured audience of St. Petersburg. The revered Iskustov paper wrote, "Adamian put more passion and energy in the play Hamlet than Rossi and Salvini. It is the first time we are seeing any acting of this caliber on the Russian stage. We would suggest that the artists of the Royal Theatre follow and learn from their colleague." The media declared that they confirmed the positive criticisms and praise published in the Moscow papers about Adamian. From St. Petersburg, Adamian left for Astrakhan, then Rostov, Kharkov, Kiev, Baku, and Green. In Theodosia, he became good friends with Ivazovsky, whom he knew from Moscow. From here, he left for Odessa, where he conquered the city. Odesky Vesnik wrote, "We can say with all confidence that Adamian's success in Hamlet surpassed every expectation. None of the international stars like Salvini, Rossi, Possart, Bernan, and finally any actor has performed Hamlet as great as complete as Adamian." Odesky Telegraph wrote that Adamian's greatness is not felt on the conscious level, but it is recognized by an unknown feeling in an indescribable manner. This unknown feeling forces you to swallow your tears, love the foreign face and that foreign language. And what did the foreign face look like? Shirvanzadeh wrote very vividly about Adamian's appearance. "In my life, I haven't seen a more beautiful face than Adamian's. He can compete with both Bogley and Byron and still win. His high forehead, thick hair, large sky-blue eyes, his narrow eyebrows and mustache, tight intelligent mouth, slightly aquiline nose, with nostrils which would tremble like the nostrils of an Arabian. All this was meant to serve a model for Raphael. He was not very tall, although on stage he seemed huge, especially in the roles of Othello, King Lear, Aurelius Augustus, Kin, and Corrado. After Hamlet, Adamyan's most favorite role was the role of Corrado. The Russian media has compared him with other actors and found that Adamyan once again surpassed them in his portrayal of Corrado. Another paper, for the lack of any actor worthy of comparison with Adamyan, stated, Adamyan this time outdid himself. At a performance, Adamyan's portrayal of the torments of Corrado was so masterful that some women had to close their eyes to avoid that horrific scene. But how did Adamyan achieve such excellence? What kind of an actor was Adamyan? Shehvanzadeh has given some details which enables us to picture Adamyan's expertise as an actor and his genre. What was the main attraction of Adamyan's work as an actor? First and foremost, it was his flexibility, writes Shehvanzadeh. I've never heard such baritone from the stage. Adamyan was dynamic because his energy came from within. Armenian wrote in his memoirs that on stage, you did not have to listen Adamyan to understand what he was saying, or you did not have to see Adamyan to understand his play. This observation tells us a lot about Adamyan, the artist. In 1888, Adamyan returned to Istanbul and played Othello. In Erzurum, he played Kin, but he failed to satisfy the audience. He lost his voice due to an illness of the throat. He became seriously ill, and in June 3, 1891, the genius of Armenian theater closed his sky blue eyes for eternity.